Hi guys, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, sir.
Right, so we'll be doing determinants today. Do you have any doubts with respect to last class?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, so let's begin. So you learned how to find the determinant, right, of any matrix. You multiply a corresponding row or a corresponding column with its cofactor values. Hmm. Okay, so you'll get the value of the determinant. If you take one row and multiply it with the corresponding elements of cofactors of another row, then you'll get 0. All right. So we'll start with the properties of determinants. Rows and columns are interchanged. What happens? The determinant remains unchanged. Okay. Rows and columns, if you interchange, determinant remains unchanged. Basically, determinant of A transpose is equal to determinant of A. All right. Now, second property, if any two rows or columns are interchanged, determinant changes in sign. Determinant changes in sign. Okay, so you have one determinant like this: A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. Okay, if you're looking for the determinant of B1, B2, B3, A1, A2, A3, C1, C2, C3, this is nothing but minus D. Okay, so one shift leads to one sign change. That's the idea. Okay, so if you had something like this, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. What's the determinant of this?
D, sir.
It'll be D again. All right. So this differs from this by changing the first and the last row. That's it. Okay. So this is one more change. So minus D becomes D again. I hope you guys got this. Okay. So all just remember, like from going from the first determinant to the last determinant, you have to make two changes, even number of changes to go there. So minus one into minus one. I hope this is clear to everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, if a determinant has all elements 0 in any row or column, then D is equal to 0. If determinant has all elements 0 in any row or column, then D is equal to 0. If any determinant has two identical rows or columns, then also D is equal to 0. Right. So basically, to maintain the determinant as the same, you can subtract a row from it, subtract a whole column from it, and all. Okay. So if two rows are the same, okay, what you do is you subtract the first row from the second column, second row or something. Then you will get one of them as 0, 0, 0. To find the value of the determinant, you can open by any row, right? So imagine you're opening by the 0, 0, 0 row. You will get your determinant as 0. I hope this was clear to you. Here you just put R2 becoming R2 minus R1. Okay, and then this happens. Middle row R2 becomes 0, 0, 0. Okay. Okay. Then next property I want you to write it down. If all elements of a row is multiplied by the same number k, if the all elements of a row is multiplied by the same number k, then the determinant becomes k into the previous determinant. Okay. Okay. If you multiply k into a particular row or a column, the determinant becomes k into the previous determinant. Okay. Then, did you write this? Guys, did you write this?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, if each element of any row or column can be expressed as sum of two terms, if each element of any row or column can be expressed as sum of two terms, then this can be split into the sum of two determinants. Okay, so imagine the first row was expressed as a sum of two terms, a1 plus x, b1 plus y, c1 plus z. So then this becomes two determinants, a1, b1, c1. Only along a row or a column can you split this as a sum of two determinants. I hope this much is clear to you. The rest, everything remains the same. Okay, so here the determinant will be basically like this, right? A1 plus x into the cofactor of 1, 1 plus b1 plus y into cofactor of 1, 2 plus c1 plus z into cofactor of 1, 3. Basically, I split each of these into two terms each. And then I clubbed A1, B1, C1 term together and X, Y, Z term together. That's how you get two determinants. Okay, this is the easiest way of explaining this. Did you guys get this much? Should I repeat it again?
Sir, can you repeat the statement again?
Yeah. If each element of any row or column can be expressed as a sum of two terms, then the determinant can be expressed as the sum of two determinants. This is statement B, but did you guys understand what I'm saying here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I simply remove the bracket for each of these three parts. Okay, like the next one. The value of a determinant is not altered. The value of a determinant is not altered by adding to the elements of any row, bracket, or column. The value of a determinant is not altered by adding to the elements of any row, bracket, or column a constant multiple of corresponding elements of any other row, bracket, or column. Okay. So suppose there was a determinant like this, suppose. Okay. So here, what I want you to do is, to the first row, add a constant multiple of any other row. So let's take this row A3. So I'll multiply this by constant. So A1 plus K A3, B1 plus K B3, C1 plus K C3. So this can be split into sum of two determinants, right? You can split along a particular row or a column. So I'm taking row 1 to split it. A2, B2, C2, A3, B3, C3 will remain same for both the cases. You're splitting along one row or one column. Okay. So here you get A1, B1, C1. You should understand why I'm splitting it this way. KA3, KB3, KC3. So here I can take K common outside. Okay. So I take K common outside from the first row. Right. From each row, you can take things common for a determinant. Okay. So for the first row, I take K common outside. And then there is A3, B3, and C3 as both similar rows. So what does this mean? This part will be having determinant value 0. Two rows are same. So then you understand, you get determinant value 0. You only get this remaining. So that's the basic idea I was saying. To any row or column, you can add a constant multiple of any other row or column. Got this? You get the same determinant. This is what you get finally. Okay. Simplify this. Simplify this. Come on. Okay, to simplify this, I use this manipulation. I take R1 and add R2 as well as R3 to it. Why do I do that? Because I notice all of them have A, B, C separately in different order. So then this becomes A plus B plus C, B, C, and then A plus B plus C, C, A, and then A plus B plus C, A, B. So from here, you can simply take A plus B plus C common outside. Okay, from the first row, there will be A plus B plus C, and then B, C, A, C, A, B. Hope all of you are with me here. Now I notice that like one row has entire same elements. They are one. Okay. So I'll do one simple manipulation. C2 will be C2 minus C1. Like column 2 will be column 2 minus column 1. While column 3 will be column 3 minus column 1 again. Wait, what does that do? It makes two elements 0. That's the idea. Okay. So this will become 1, B, and C because no change is done to C1. C1 remains as C1 itself. Okay. Now, C2 becomes C2 minus C1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. C minus B comes here. A minus C comes here. Similarly, 0, A minus B, and B minus C. So now we can easily find the determinant. Because we don't have these two values, I will open the determinant along this row. Okay. So it's 1 into cofactor of this. Plus 0 into cofactor of something, plus 0 into cofactor of something. So you just looking at this. That's why you make the other element 0. I hope you understood this now. It becomes A plus B plus C into C minus B into B minus C, which becomes B minus C the whole square into minus 1 minus A minus C into A minus B. So this becomes A plus B plus C into minus B square minus C square plus 2BC minus A square plus AB plus AC minus BC. Minus BC plus 2BC becomes plus BC. So you get this as minus of A plus B plus C into A square plus B square plus C square minus AB minus AC minus BC. You can further manipulate this as a plus b plus c into minus. Then this can be written as 1 by 2 into 2a square, which are like that as a square plus a square, plus 2b square, which is b square plus b square, plus 2c square. C square plus c square. Because I divide by 2, I have to multiply the second part by 2 inside. So minus 2ab minus 2ac minus 2bc. This can further be written as minus a plus b plus c by 2 into a square plus b square minus 2ab is a minus b the whole square. A square plus c square minus 2ac is a minus c the whole square, plus b square plus c square minus 2bc is b minus c whole square. This is what you get as your final answer. I hope this much is clear to everybody. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay. So let's run factor theorem using the next example. ABC, a square, b square, c square, bc, ea, e. Find this determinant using factor theorem. Okay. Factor theorem is simple. If f of a is equal to 0, then x equal to a is a root. As simple as that. Or in other words, x minus a is a factor. Okay. Right. If f of a is equal to 0, then x minus a is a factor. Right. Now, if we put a equal to b, what happens? This becomes a square, ac, and ca. C square, ab. What is this determinant? If a is equal to b,
0.
two columns are same, so you get 0. All right. Now, if b equal to c, this becomes a square bc. Sorry, a square b square. Okay, so because b is equal to c. Now here it will be ab. This will be ab. This will be b square, This will be b, and this will be b. This will also come out to 0. So if you say equal to b, then you get determinant 0. It means a minus b is a factor. Similarly, when you say b equal to c, you get determinant equal to 0, which means b minus c is a factor. Similarly, you can see that if c is equal to a, you can see that c minus a is also a factor. All right? Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, when you find the determinant, you can see that along a row, everything is degree 1. Along the next row, everything is degree 2. Along the third row, everything is degree 2. B into C, C into A into B. So when I find the determinant, I'm doing A into this minus this into this. So you can see that all the terms in the determinant, okay. So all the terms in the determinant will have a degree of how much? 5 in it. 1 plus 2 plus 2. 1 plus 2 plus 2. So just simply count along the diagonal. That is enough to understand this. Are you with me here, guys? To find the degree of the determinant, like for each term of the determinant, once you see that in each row everything is the same, like same degree. So to find the degree of the determinant, you multiply into the diagonal directly. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're expecting a 5th degree value. Okay. But you already got 3 these things here. A minus B, B minus C, C minus A. Okay, so these are three factors that we get. Okay, so this determinant, okay, this I'll call determinant D. So determinant will be this into what? Into a second degree. Okay, there'll be a second degree thing here because the finally every term that you get in the determinant will have degree 5. Okay, we are aiming for a degree 5. We have degree 3 here already. We need to find a second degree term here. Okay, are you with me till here, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now I want you to understand that look, it's not easy doing factor theorem, okay, but it makes life easier once you get it. You get so many roots, so which means this is already there outside. If you had to expand, you will get so many terms, and expanding them is literally a pain. Okay, like here you'll already get it in the simplest form. That's the idea. So now you need a second degree term, and notice one thing here, one property in this determinant. All terms are cyclic, right? It's A square, BC. Then you just replace A with B, and B with C, and A with B. Okay, and C with A, sorry. Okay. So that is what is happening when you move into this column. That's the same thing that happens when you move into this column, right? So you can say that it is cyclic. All right, A is replaced with B is replaced with C, and C is replaced with A in the adjacent columns. So that is enough proof for you to say that it is cyclic in nature. So it is cyclic means the second degree equation that remains, or whatever equation you get out of it, will actually be symmetric. So how many ways can you form symmetric? So that can be done as A square plus B square plus C square. So then it's symmetric. Okay. Or it can be done as AB plus BC plus CA. Is there any other way in which you can make it symmetric? Okay, so it can be either this, or a combination of both when it comes to symmetric, this thing. So I'll bring in two constants in case it's a combination of both. So if it's not a combination, one will become 0. That's the idea. Other won't exist. So now we almost have our answer here. Determinant will be A minus B, B minus C, C minus A into lambda A square plus B square plus C square plus mu AB plus BC plus CA. Okay. Any doubts here, guys, as of now?
No, sir.
We have to find the values of lambda and mu. We are not done here, but till now, any doubts? Did you understand what we did here? We did factor theorem. So first we put A equal to B, we get 0. B equal to C, we get 0. C equal to A, we get 0, which means A minus B, B minus C, C minus A are factors. Now we are expecting a fifth degree term to come out of the determinant. So to find the fact that it is a fifth degree term that I'm getting, first I notice that it is homogeneous across every row. All right. Everything has the same thing. So when I expand, I can notice that each and every term will have degree 5. When I expand the determinant, each and every term will have degree 5. I already have 3 factors with me. So 3 degrees are taken care of, 2 degrees are left to be taken care of. I notice that this is cyclic, which means that it will be a combination of A square plus B square plus C square and AB plus BC plus CA. That's the only way in which this can happen. Now, I need to find values of this. So what do I do here? Simply substitute values, guys. You have A square, BC, B square, AC, C square, EB. Now, I'll simply substitute values here. Like basically, I'll put values like -1, 1, 0 for A, B, and C. So what happens here? So this is the trial and error part I'm talking about. So once you put A equal to -1, this becomes -1, 1, BC becomes 0. Wherever there's C, it becomes 0. Okay, AB is -1, B square is 1, and B is 1. This is what I need to find. Okay. So this becomes -1. So I'm opening along this row, suppose. Okay. This row. So it's 0 into something plus 0 into something plus -1 into -1 -1. It becomes 2. Okay. -1 into -2 is 2. Now this, I have my RHS here. Okay. RHS is A minus B, which is -1 -1, which is -2. B minus C is 1 minus 0. C minus A is 0 minus -1 into lambda into A square plus B square plus C square. 1 square plus 1 square plus 0 plus mu into AB plus BC plus CA. So from here you can say that 1 is equal to minus 2 lambda minus mu, or mu minus 2 lambda equal to 1. This is one equation. Next, I bring in another substitution. Okay. A, B, and C, I'll take other values. 0, 1, and 2, suppose. So then what happens? This A becomes 0, 0 square, and BC becomes 2, 1, 1, and AC. Wherever A is there, it becomes 0. And C square is there, which becomes 2 and 4. This value I get it as 2 into 4 minus 2, which is 2. This is 4. And let's look at the RHS, substitute the same values into it. I get lambda into 0 plus 1 plus 4, which becomes 5, plus mu into 0 plus 0 plus 2. So from here I get that 2 mu plus 5 lambda equal to 4. So the first equation I'll modify to 2 mu minus 4 lambda equal to 2, and I'll subtract it from the first one. Then I basically add these two up. 9 lambda equal to 2. And then I get lambda equal to 2 by 9. So what will that make mu? Mu will become 1 plus 2 lambda, which is 1 plus 4 by 9. That becomes 13 by 9. So you substitute the values into this to get your final answer. Okay.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, how is 2 mu plus 5 lambda is 4, sir?
2 mu plus 5 lambda, was that equal to 4? I substituted values 0, 1, and 2 into this. I get 0 here, 0 here. Wherever there's A, there'll be 0. B is 1, and C is 2. So 1 into 2 is here. Okay. So then this becomes 2 into 4 minus 2, which is 4. And then I substitute the values of A, B, and C as 0, 1, and 2 into this. So A becomes 0 square, B square becomes 1, C square becomes 4. So it becomes 5 lambda here. Now, mu becomes, the A terms will become 0, and BC is 2 into thing equal to 2. So 2 mu is there here. So you get 2 mu plus 5 lambda equal to 4. Yeah, that's what you're getting.
Sir, what about the A minus B into B minus C into C minus A, sir? We didn't use that here.
Oh yeah, we didn't use that, did we? Yes, yes, yes. I'm so sorry. You're right. You're right. A minus B, B minus C, C minus A should be used here. Correct, correct, correct. Yeah, I didn't use this here. A minus B becomes 0 minus 1. B minus C becomes again minus 1. And C minus A becomes 2. So then this becomes 2 here. It doesn't become 4, it becomes 2 here. Right? Now from here I get lambda equal to 0. Okay, great. Here lambda equal to 0. Mu is equal to 1 plus 2 lambda, which becomes 1. So basically what happens is lambda becomes 0. This term goes out. Okay, you get A minus B, B minus C, C minus A into AB plus BC plus CA. You're right. This is what you get. Okay. For the other part, you put minus 1, A minus B, B minus C, C minus A. So this will be multiplied by minus 2. Okay, we'll have to do some calculations again, once again. So you get minus 2 here. And then you get 2 lambda. No. We did that already. 2 lambda minus mu equal to 2. Sorry. This minus 2 is there. 2 lambda minus mu equal to minus 1. Or mu minus 2 lambda equal to 1. Mu minus 2 lambda equal to 1 is one equation I get. And 5 lambda plus 2 mu equal to 2. The second equation I get. First equation I multiply by 2. This is what I get. And then I subtract both of them. I get 9 lambda equal to 0, or in other words, lambda equal to 0. And if lambda equal to 0, mu equal to minus 1. Okay. Sorry. Mu equal to 1. Mu equal to 1. Right. If lambda equal to 0, mu is equal to 1. And yeah, this is what you get. Just put mu equal to 1 here. You get AB plus BC plus AC into A minus B into B minus C into C minus A. You're right now. Okay, this is what you get. Thank you so much. Guys, any doubts here? The calculation might look cluttered, but when you do it, you will get what I'm talking about. You're just substituting different values. This is valid for any value of A, B, and C, right? So you're just putting in a couple of values of A, B, and C and trying to figure out the constants you brought in, lambda and mu. That's what you're doing. You can put any value you want, not just minus 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 2. You put any value you want. Just make sure A minus B is not equal to, like A is not equal to B, B is not equal to C, or C is not equal to A. Then it becomes 0. You can't find lambda or mu. That is the only thing you need to take care of when you substitute different values. Okay. Okay, clear? Guys, do you have any doubts?
No, sir. Till now it's clear.
No, it's fine. Okay. Now, let's multiply two determinants. Okay. So, A1, B1, C1, A2, B2, C2, A3, B3, C3, D2, L1, M1, N1, L2, M2, N2, L3, M3, 3. So, you can do a row into row, like row into column. Like you can take one row here and you can take another column here. Basically, A1, L1 plus A2, L2 plus A3, L3. So, I am taking a row 1, row 2, row 3, and column 1, column 2, column 3, and then multiplying it across. The first term will be first row into first column. Second row will be first row into second column, as in the second element here will be A1, M1 plus A2, M2 plus A3, M3. The next one will be first row into third column A1, N1, A2, N2, A3, N3. Then Similarly, you're taking the, okay, I'm basically doing column 1, column 2, column 3 multiplication. Okay, this is also valid. Okay, I'm taking first column, multiplying it with the first column here. I'm taking the first column here, multiplying with the second column here, and so on. Now comes the second column into first column here. Okay, that's what I'm doing here, and so on. Second column, second column, second column, third column. I can also do row into column. So I'm doing column into column. I can similarly take row 1, row 2, row 3. Okay, row into column. I can also do column into row, or I can do row into row. They'll all give me the same value of the determinant. When you multiply two determinants, this happens. When you multiply two matrices, it was strict, right? Okay, when you're multiplying two determinants, this is absolutely valid. Okay, so you can just turn it over, transpose either of them and multiply column into row, however you're comfortable with. Okay, or whichever is most convenient at that point. That is what you'll go for. This much is clear? How do you multiply across determinants?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, okay, we'll practice a question. It should make more sense that time. So, you have to prove that cos of a minus b, cos of a minus q, cos of a minus r into cos b minus p, cos b minus q, cos b minus r, cos c minus p, cos c minus q, cos c minus r. Don't try to expand this, okay? It's a pain. You have to prove that this is equal to 0. So cos a minus b is cos a cos b plus sin a sin p. Cos a minus q is cos a cos q plus sin a sin q.
Sir,
Cos
if you
a minus
split
r
the
is,
determinant, the second part will automatically become 0 because they are same elements.
no. If you split the determinant, how do you split the determinant?
Sir, like sin A, sin P, and then sin A, sin Q.
Okay.
You take then take sin A common, sin A, then sin B, sin C common.
Okay. No, you can't. You split the determinant such that two rows remain the same, right? Only along one row you can split. Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so only along one row you can split. So you can't do that. You can't do that. So say sin A, sin R, then cos B, cos P. But no. That won't happen actually. B, cos Q plus sin B, sin Q, B cos R, sin B, sin R, cos C, cos P, sin C, sin P, cos C, cos Q, sin C, sin Q, cos C, cos R, plus sin C, sin R. Okay, we have this much with us. So I'm trying to break it down into two determinants. Please try to understand that. So for that, I will involve another term. So there will be three terms, right, involved. So I'll involve the next term as 0. That's the area. Okay, plus 0, plus 0, plus 0. So to bring it into two determinants, okay, I see cos A common for everything in the first row. Okay, cos A and sin A will be there for first row. So I'll bring in cos A here and sin A here. Okay, I'm trying to do a row by column multiplication because it looks like matrix multiplication. You don't need to get confused. Okay. So cos A, cos P. Okay, so cos P should be here and sin P should be here. And then suppose this was 0 and this was some other constant lambda, like anything. What do I get when I multiply this row and this column? Cos A cos P plus sin A sin P, right? Okay, plus 0. Perfect. So let's look at the next column. I need cos A cos Q plus sin A sin Q. So for that, I just bring in cos Q and sin Q here. It becomes cos A cos Q plus sin A sin Q plus some other constant lambda dash. Okay, lambda 1, lambda 2. Okay, then third one, cos A cos P, sorry, cos A cos R and sin A sin R plus some lambda 3. Okay, now the next row here will have cos A, sorry, cos B, sin B, and 0. It's the same logic like before. Okay, it'll be cos B, cos P plus sin B, sin P plus 0. Similarly, third row will be cos C, sin C, and 0. And since we can see that the first one has all elements 0 in one of the rows, you can say the first one determinant will be 0. 0 multiplied by whatever determinant you get here will be 0 itself. Got this? This is actually the fastest way of proving this. The tough part was understanding this one. Okay. Once you get that, it's an easy problem. Any doubts here, guys?
Sir, can you explain the last step alone again?
This one, where this one's determinant became 0.
Yes, sir.
So look at this column, the last column.
No,
So
sir.
you want to
Actually,
find the
how we got the both determinants? How did you separate it?
Okay. That is a good note. So you notice that. So if you're doing row into row, suppose you're doing row into row. Okay. Right now I did row into column. So suppose you're doing row into row. So first row into first row from the first determinant into first row from the second determinant will be the first like A11 term, which means first row is cos A cos P plus sin A sin P plus 0. Okay. Now 0 I can have lambda 1 here and 0 here. Doesn't matter. Now my next term here will be first row from the first determinant and second row from the second determinant. I'm doing row by row calculation, don't forget. So it will be cos A cos Q plus sin A sin Q and 0. Right. The third element will be first row and third row in the second determinant. So cos A cos R plus sin A sin R. I'll put 0 here. Now similarly, with that same logic, I can go for the second row. Okay. My second row terms are second row from the first determinant into first row from the second determinant, which is cos B into cos P plus sin B into sin P plus 0. You understood how I got 0, right?
Yes, sir. Now
I
I
can
got
put
it.
0 here and I can put lambda 2 here. But then the problem here is if I take the first row and multiply it with the second row, which will be this term here. Okay. I will get a constant term lambda 1 into lambda 2. That is why I'm keeping all zeros on one side and all the lambdas on the other side. If that was the doubt also you had.
Okay, sir. Got it, sir.
Okay. Cos C, sin C, and lambda 3. This comes out to 0. All right. Now let's move into summation. What did we learn here? So here, if determinant of R is f of R, g of R, h of R, and the rest should be constants, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3, then I can say that summation delta R will be summation f of R, summation g of R, again, summation h of R, A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3. Do you understand why this works? You can split along one row, right? That's the same thing that's happening here. Okay, everything else is constant, so it's kept as it is. Only one row is where the variable terms are. So along those places only you expand. Is this clear? Yes, any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay, let's quickly do one problem. N minus 2, CR minus 2, N minus 2, CR minus 1, N minus 2, CR, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1, 0, equal to determinant at R. Find R equal to 2 to N, determinant of R. What do you do here? Simply put sigma here, R equal to 2 to N, that's it. You see, R is only on one row, so you simply put sigma here. That's the idea. Okay, R equal to 2 to N. We're looking at the first part becomes N minus 2 C0 plus N minus 2 C1 all the way up till N minus 2 Cn minus 2. And this sum, as we all know, is nothing but 2 power N minus 2. Okay, so this becomes 2 power N minus 2. Then, similarly, this one becomes N minus 2 C1 plus N minus 2 C2 all the way up to N minus 2 Cn minus 2. So that becomes 2 power N minus 2 minus N minus 2 C0. Okay, and then the term here, N minus 2 C2 till N minus 2 Cn minus 2, which becomes 2 minus N minus 2, sorry, 2 power N minus 2 minus N minus 2 C0 minus N minus 2 C1. So R equal to 0, R equal to 1 terms are brought into this. Okay, so minus N minus 2 C0 is 1, minus N minus 2 C1 becomes N minus 2. So this becomes 2 power N minus 2. Okay, this becomes 2 power N minus 2 minus 1 minus N plus 2. Okay, so plus 2 minus 1 becomes plus 1. What do you get here? Then you get 3, 1, 1 and 2, 1, 0 here. Okay. So now, shall we continue solving this? Or did you guys get this? We'll get 2 power N minus 2 into 1 minus 1 into 0 minus 1 minus 2 power N minus 2 minus 1 into 3 into 0 minus 2 plus 2 power N minus 2 minus N plus 1 into 3 minus 2. This is 1. From here I get minus 2 power N minus 2 plus 2 into 2 power N minus 2, which becomes plus 2 power N minus 2 in plus 2 power N minus 2 becomes 2 into 2 power N minus 2, which is 2 power N minus 1. Next, I get a plus 2 here, minus 2 here. Okay, minus 2. Then I get minus N plus 1. So it becomes 2 power N minus 1 minus N minus 1. This is your final answer. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
To make your calculation simpler, what you can do is you can simply put C3 becoming C3 minus 1 by 2 C2. What will happen here? Or, sorry. C2. Okay, sorry. I'll make C1 become C1 minus 2 into C2. This is also another way. What will happen here? This term will become 0. So you get 2 zeros in a row and you simply need to expand. Okay. This term will become 0. This term will become 1. This term will change accordingly. Okay. You'll get 2 zeros on a row and then simply expand. You don't need to worry too much there. Okay, I hope this was clear to you. Now, okay, quickly do this question. R minus 1, 1, 0, 2, R, 3 plus R plus 1, minus 1, minus 2. This is delta R. Find sigma R equal to 1 to N delta R. What do you do here? Guys, in this question, what do you do? It is very intuitive. What do you do here?
We can add the rows.
Okay, so which row do we add? Right. Yes, it doesn't need to be right. This is how you learn. You make a mistake, you learn it immediately. Can you put sigma into this? Along a row or along a column, okay? Or along a column, because you transpose it also, it'll be the same thing. Can you put sigma into wherever PCR? Can you do that? No, we can't. Okay, we cannot. We can pick one row and do it. But then the issue is the other row should be a constant. All items should be constant. It's not the case. So the only way you do it is you expand the whole thing. Okay, this is tedious. You expand the whole thing and then find the sum. All right. Okay, guys, you simply expand the whole thing and then find the sum here. Hope this was clear to you.
Yes, sir.
And now, differentiation of determinant is the next subtopic. Differentiation of determinant. Okay, so you have some delta in terms of x given to be f1x, f2x, 2x. Okay, how do you differentiate this to that? Just understand this much, okay? f1x, f2x, f3x. I will differentiate this first, keep the remaining as it is, okay? They will remain as it is. Plus, I will differentiate the second row, G1, G2, and G3, and keep the remaining as it is. Okay, first and second row, first and last row. Then I differentiate the third row and then keep the remaining F1, G1 as it is. Okay, this is what I get for delta dash x. Do you understand what we do? We split it into 3 parts where we differentiate each row separately, keeping the rest as it was. Clear to you?
Yes, sir.
It's as simple as that. That's all. Yeah. Okay, find f double dash a. F double dash a. What do you do here? So you notice the variable. So what you have to actually do is to find f dash x, you will differentiate the first row, but you know the first row is a constant. You will get 0, 0, 0 there. Similarly, when you differentiate the last row, you will again get 0, 0, 0 there. So from those three determinants, you will get the sum of both. Two of them will be 0, 0, 0. Only differentiate the middle row. That's all that matters. Keep everything else constant. 1a square and differentiate the middle row. 6x and 4x cubed, 6x square. Okay. And then what do? You differentiate the middle row again. keep the remaining constant. 3, 2, 1, 1a square, 12, 6, and 12x square. 1 second. Here you get 12x, here you get 6x square. Here you get 12 again, and here 12x, and then here you get 12x square. So this is basically 3, 2, 1, and I take 12 common outside. I get 1x square and 1a and a square. Right. So when I put the value of x as a, what will happen? The
0.
second and the third row becomes the same. So hence the determinant becomes 0. Any doubts here? I'm assuming there are no doubts and I'm simply moving on. Bar x, sin x. Please ask me if you have any doubts, okay?
Sir, one request, sir.
Yes, please tell me.
Can you slow down the pace a little bit?
Okay. So, did you understand this problem or not?
Yes, sir. Till now I understood, sir.
Okay. So, what I'm doing here is simply multiplying into a row. The thing is, for JE perspective, right? They can ask a question on this. There's no assurance they will ask. It's of low priority. So I'm just quickly teaching it across. That's what's basically happening. Okay. So here, okay, guys, any doubts with this previous problem?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Now, in this problem, a plus bx plus cx square and so on is this expansion. Find the value of a and b. So we've learned differentiation. We will be using this here. So to find the value of a, what do you do to find a? Simply put x equal to 0 here. Put x equal to 0 on both sides. What happens? The RHS becomes a. The LHS? What happens to the LHS?
Zero, sir.
So it becomes put x equal to 0 here. That's all. 1, 0, 1, 0. And this comes out to 0. So you can say that is equal to 0. Fine. Now let's differentiate this, right? When we differentiate this, what do I get? E power x becomes, let's differentiate the first row. E power x becomes e power x. Sin x becomes cos x. The rest remains the same. And then I will keep the first row as it is, e power x sin x. And the second row becomes minus sin x and 1 by 1 plus x. When I differentiate the second row, I get cos x and ln 1 by 1 plus x. Minus sin x and 1 by 1 plus x. This is equal to b plus 2cx plus so on. Is it clear till this step, guys?
Yes, sir.
The rest of you?
Yes, sir.
I'm giving you time to catch up as well. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So here, put x equal to 0 again. Put x equal to 0. What do you get? Cos x is 1. Cos x is 1. This is 0. You get minus 1 here. Then I put x equal to 0. 1, 0, 0, 1. You get this equal to minus 1 plus 1 equal to b. So from here I get b equal to 0 as well. That's it. Problem solved. Okay. You differentiate along the separate rows. Okay, after you split it as the sum of different parts. Okay, next, how do you integrate a determinant? How do you integrate a determinant? So for that, you have to make sure wherever you integrate is only along a row. What is integration? It's basically addition, right? Right? In a continuous sense, it is basically addition, integration. So you have a function of x, g of x, and h of x. So if you're trying to integrate delta x, what you do is, so from a to b, if you're trying to integrate delta x, you integrate f of x from a to b, you integrate g of x from a to b, you integrate h of x from a to b, a1, b1, c1, a2, b2, c2. Make sure the rest of the rows are constants. Otherwise, if you're integrating, if constants are there, if these variable values, these functions are there in more than one row, then you simply have to expand them and then integrate. Otherwise, this is the way in which you can integrate it. Hope this was clear to you guys. Okay. Delta is given to be alpha square minus 1, beta square minus 2, gamma square minus 3, 6, 4, 3, x, x square, and x cubed. You have to find integral 0 to 1 delta x. How do you find this? Delta x dx. How do you find this? You notice that the first two rows are constant. So this is what I'm trying to find, 0 to 1. So you simply put integral 0 to 1 for these parts. Okay, that's it. So you have alpha square minus 1, beta square minus 2, gamma square minus 3, 6, 4, 3. Here you get x square by 2. This becomes x square by 2. And x square by 2 between 0 and 1 becomes 1 by 2. Similarly, this one becomes x cubed by 3. Between 0 and 1 becomes 1 by 3. X power 4 by 4 becomes 1 by 4. And this is this determinant. Is this much clear?
Sir.
Okay. So what I'll simply do now is I will multiply this last row by 12. Okay. If I multiply the last row by 12, it means outside I have to divide by 12. Right? I can bring a constant out of a row. That's the idea. Okay. So again, multiply and divide by 12, and then this becomes 6, this becomes 4, this becomes 3. You should basically notice that these two rows are proportional. One is a multiple of the other. One row is a multiple of the other. So directly you can say that this will come out to 0. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah, just moving ahead. Okay. Please write notes for this properly. system of simultaneous equations in terms of determinant. Okay. So you have three equations here: a1x, b1y plus c1z equal to d1, a2x plus b2y plus c2z equal to d2. I told you, right? We can use determinants to solve matrices and determinants to solve multiple equations at a time. Okay. So the idea is this. If you get any equation like this, you can directly write x equal to b1 by d, y equal to b2 by d, z equal to b3 by d, where d is a1, like this coefficient matrix. Okay, a1, b1, c1, b2, b2, c2, a3, b3, c3. Okay, and we also have d1 is when you replace this a1, a2, a3 by d1, d2, d3. Okay, so this becomes d1, d2, d3, and then the rest remains as it is: b1, b2, b3, c1, c2, c3. Guys, you knew this before? Have you learned this before?
Yes, sir.
No, sir.
In your school, they didn't teach you matrices determinants. Varun?
No, sir.
Sir, but these sort of questions, like in this way, they haven't. Like it's only like solving for x, y, and z. They thought for finding
Ah,
a inverse.
look, that is the previous chapter. That is the previous chapter, matrices. Finding A inverse and all to do that is previous chapter. This
No,
is this
sir,
chapter.
no, sir. Like for finding x, y, and z, you have to find the a inverse, and then
Okay. But look,
those
if they
sort of
say
questions.
use that method for your board exam, use only that method. Okay. Don't use this method. This you can use to clarify. All right. Okay. Is this the correct answer? You can cross check using this. Okay. So be careful. So the idea is simple. You take D like this. This is the main thing. D1 is replacing the first column with this one here. Okay. So you see each equation. A1x, B1y, C1z equal to D1. So there's a constant term on the RHS and degree 1 terms on the LHS. Right? So if you make a determinant out of the different coefficients that are there, that is D. You replace the first column with the constant terms D1, D2, D3. You get D1. Similarly, you replace the second column. You get. So basically, remember, x is equal to d1 by d. So x, what did you do here to get d1? D1, you replace the x coefficients with the constants d1, d2, d3. For y, we use d2. And in d2, what do we get? You replace the y coefficients with d1, d2, d3. And z is d3, which means you replace the z coefficients with d3. Okay, d1, d2, d3 to get d3. Okay, d, you know, should be the matrix here. Right. Okay, this is as simple as that. So just remember this, guys. Okay. Have you noted this down?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll be splitting this into multiple cases now. Okay. Case 1. D not equal to 0. And D1, D2, D3 are all not 0. Okay, first is D not equal to 0. So this means it will have one solution. It is consistent. Consistent, and it will have a unique solution. So remember, like these are all equations of planes basically. These three equations are that of planes. So the idea is you can use the same concept for bigger, like 4-degree equations, 5-degree equations and all. That's the idea here. That is how computers work, I think. All right, they use log and then they use this to solve it quickly. So here, consistent and unique solutions are there. All right. So D not equal to 0 means these lines, as in these are all planes. These planes are all not parallel. That's the idea. It's as simple as that. You see D not equal to 0, they are not all parallel. Now, when two planes intersect, you get a line. And when that line intersects with the third plane, you get a point. And so that's the idea. If they're not parallel, they will intersect at a point. All right. But there are other sub cases, but you get the general case here. Okay, D1, D2, D3 are all not 0. Together, they should all not be 0. One or two of them can be 0, but all of them should not be 0. That's the important condition here. Now, the second case is D equal to 0. Okay, and we have that D1, D2, D3 equal to 0. D equal to 0. D1, D2, D3 equal to 0 means what? The small d1, small d2, small d3 should be equal to 0. That's the idea here. Okay. If that is 0 only, this problem comes. All of d1, d2, and d3 will become 0. Now, if they were all 0, what does it mean? This was homogeneous. Every term will have degree 1. Okay. And then they all pass through the origin. Okay. You can imagine planes like that passing through the origin. Now, degree 1 passing through the origin, and they are all parallel. Why do I say they're all parallel? Because D is equal to 0. All right. Or at least 2 are parallel. If D is equal to 0, you can say that at least 2 are parallel. If 2 are parallel and they go through the same point, you're talking about the same plane. Now, the next one, it's given that the third plane also goes through the origin. If D1, if this condition is satisfied, case 2, which means it intersects at a line. Now, this is too much details for you right now. It might be, but don't worry. It just means that they are the same thing. So this is consistent. It will have solution. And then it will have trivial solution only. What is trivial solution? That is the origin. X equal to Y equal to Z equal to 0. So 0, 0, 0 is the only solution here. Okay. Basically, you get a homogeneous equation where, sorry, D not equal to 0. They are not parallel. Okay, we'll take that case. That is when it's consistent. Otherwise, it is consistent, but it will have infinite solutions, like D is equal to 0 and D1 equal to D2 equal to D3 equal to 0. This is consistent and has infinite solutions. Consistent means it has a solution at least. That's the idea. Consistent means there will exist a solution. Or it will have no solution, where they are parallel and spaced apart. Okay, it has no solution, but they are coincident lines. Okay, this we'll have to check. This you'll get only by cross-checking. Okay, so this I'll explain. And then comes the fourth case. Fourth case is when D is equal to 0. You have a bunch of parallel planes, but none of D1, D2, D3 equal to 0. Right? Okay, so, or wait, sorry, not none of, all of this is not equal to 0. The one condition was all of them are equal to 0. This condition is all of them are not equal to 0. What happens here? These planes are all parallel because D equal to 0. But since D1, D2, D3 are not equal to 0, it means they are spaced apart. They'll have no solution. They are inconsistent. No solution. Please note these points carefully. All right. Please note these points carefully. Quickly, come on. Have you noted this down, guys? All of you?
Yes, sir.
The rest of you, have you noted this down? Siddharth, have you noted this down?
Yes, sir.
Varun,
Yes, sir.
Aditi,
Yes, sir.
Srivatsan?
Yes, sir.
Then please reply, all of you. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you one by one, right? Plus y plus z is equal to 6. X plus 2y plus 3z equal to 10. X plus 2y plus lambda z equal to mu. Find lambda and mu such that it has unique solutions. 2. It has infinite solutions. And 3. It has no solution. Find lambda and mu such that it has unique solutions, infinite solutions, and no solutions. First one means unique solution. So for that, what is the necessary condition? Okay, to solve this, first we'll arrange everything. D should be 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, lambda. Okay, next D1 will be replacing 1, 1, 1 with 6, 10 mu, 1, 2, 2, 3 lambda. Similarly, you can find D2 and D3. Find the values quickly. I subtract 2 of these columns with each other. Basically, I get 0 here. I get -1 here. I get -1 here. Then I'll do one C2 becoming C2 plus, sorry, minus 2 C3. So D1 becomes 6, 10 mu plus 2 C3. 0, 0, 1, 0, -1, -1. Because -1 into -10 plus mu. 10 minus mu. Oh, no, no, no. There'll be a lambda here, right? That'll change things. It'll change things. There'll be a lambda here. Okay, you'll get an equation in lambda and mu. That's the idea. Yeah. You get an equation in lambda and mu. Similarly, for D2 and D3, you'll get equation in lambda and mu. For D3, you will not get equation in lambda and mu. You'll get an equation only in mu. Because you're replacing lambda with mu itself. Okay, so you have this much with you. Now, first one is unique solution. Unique solution, what is the condition you need to look at? D not equal to 0. That's all you need to care about. All right, the second D is not equal to 0. You can say that you will have a unique solution. Okay, so D not equal to 0, what does that give me? Lambda not equal to 3. Right. guys.
Yes, sir.
So D is here. This is -1 into lambda minus 3 plus 1 into 0. You get this as, this is equal to 0, not equal to 0. So I'm just putting it equal to 0 for now. This is lambda minus 3 equal to 0. So lambda equal to 3 means D is equal to 0. That's the idea. Okay. So we need D not equal to 0. So lambda not equal to 3. For infinite solutions, what's the thing here? D is equal to 0, while at the same time, D1, D2, D3 should all be equal to 0. So make it all equal to 0. Find values of lambda and mu. All right.
So will lambda be 3 and mu is equal to 10?
Yes. Yes. D equal to 0 means lambda equal to 3. So in D1, D2, D3 and all, just substitute lambda equal to 3 there.
So since it should coincide, should mu be equal to 10?
Should mu be equal to 10? Yes, yes, yes. Mu should be equal to 10. Since they should be the same plane. Correct, correct, correct. That's the idea. Two of these planes should be the same thing. The other plane will intersect at a line. That's the idea. So basically, this becomes 10, this becomes 3. Okay, that way you can look at it. Okay, so these two become the same thing. D1 becomes equal to D3. The third case is no solution. That's when they're parallel. Okay, the parallel means D equal to 0. Fine. That means lambda equal to 3. But at the same time, all of D1, D2, and D3 should not be equal to 0. Okay, so for that, we get mu should not be equal to 3. Mu should not be equal to 10. Okay, I hope you are doing the calculations on your own. I'm giving you time to figure this out. Are you all getting the same thing?
Yes, sir.
Is any doubts here?
No, sir.
Okay. Solve this. Solve these equations. What's the first issue you are facing? B is equal to 0. You can see 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. B is equal to 0. Okay, so in your mind, you should be able to see three parallel lines, as in three parallel planes, right? X plus y plus z equal to 1. The second one is x plus y plus z equal to 3 by 2. Other is x plus y plus z equal to 4 by 3. So you can say that D1, D2, D3 are not equal to 0. What case are we looking at? We're looking at case 3, right? No, sorry, we're looking at case 4 here. Sorry. We're looking at case 4 here. There'll be no solution, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next one. There will be no solution. That's as simple as that. Next question. X plus y plus z equal to 2. 2x plus 2y plus 2z equal to 4. 3x plus 3y plus 3z equal to 6. Here directly you can say d equal to 0. What about d1, d2, d3?
They are also zeros.
What are you expecting?
Coincident.
It's coincident, but there can be a
Infinite
case where there
solution.
can be no solution as well. Yeah, tell me.
No solution, sir.
No solution.
So, which case is it? They're all
First
basically in other versions of x plus y plus z equal to 2, right? You should get infinite solution. That's the idea. Okay. So, to prove this, what I'll do is I'll put z equal to t. Lakshmi, were you asking something?
No, sir. No, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir. I was telling the answer.
Okay. So, what is the answer you were getting?
Sir, I don't know solution for the previous one.
The previous one, it had no solution. You're right. You're
No,
right. You're
no.
right.
Yes, sir.
For this one, there are no solutions. But for this one, you can see that, okay, x plus y is equal to 2 minus t here. Here you can write it as 4 minus 2t by 2, which will be x plus y. This will be 6 minus 3t by 3. It's the same thing. 2 minus t are all these things. So basically, x plus y gives me the same value for all values of t. I just simply put z equal to t to check what is going on. Okay. So the idea is that is how people normally check. What I want you to understand is they are the same plane. All the three parts are the same plane. So it will have infinite solutions. Okay. That's all you need to check. If they're the same plane, boom, infinite solutions. Okay. You don't even need to do all this. But this is the classical way of doing it. This is how I want you to do it. Just look at it. 3 planes. They're the same thing. Nothing to worry. Infinite solutions. There can be a case there where it's like this. 2, 4, and 8 instead of 6. Okay. Then what do you say? 2 of these planes are coincident. The third plane is just parallel to that, but somewhere else. So we are looking for solutions of all these 3 parts. They all should intersect somewhere. Okay, which never happens. That is the case where you get no solution. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Right.
sir.
As simple as that. So yeah, that's about it for determinants. If you have any doubts here, please ask me. Otherwise, class is done.
No doubts, sir. Understood.
No doubt.
Okay. So please go. I know today's class must have been really fast because we actually have a shortage of time. But I'm going fast. I'm thinking I'm going fast at the places which are not of much importance. Okay. But if you feel the whole thing was fast, please go through the video again. Try to clear your doubts properly and then come back with your doubts. Okay, we'll start solving it properly then. Okay. So our next chapter mostly will be complex numbers and then sequence series. Right? We'll try to finish it at the earliest. So please try to come prepared. Like read a bit about these topics and then come. Because I will be going a little fast. Because
So
you've
what's
done
the
it
next
before.
topic? Sorry.
Hmm?
What's the next
Complex
topic, sir?
numbers.
Okay, sir.
Complex numbers. And after that, sequence and series.
Okay, sir.
right? So, yeah, let's do this properly. Okay, if you have any doubts, please ask. Otherwise, yeah, class is done.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.